I'm Sam Haskell, Chairman of Miss America, and today is, a very exciting day because you're going to get to meet our outstanding panel of judges. It's always a joy for me to moderate this session because we have made a point of trying to create an environment that will attract a very diverse and well-spoken, filled with life experience type person to be on our judges panel, and this year is no exception. I believe this is one of the finest and most diverse groups of people and intellectuals that we've ever put together. And what better year to do it than the 90th anniversary of Miss America. So no further ado, I'd like to introduce our distinguished panel of 7 judges. First of all, Joy Behar. Joy is an accomplished broadcaster, comedian, co-host of ABC's The View, and host of her own show, The Joy Behar Show on HLN. In addition to television, Joy has made numerous appearances in film and theater. She's the recipient of several awards, most recently GLAAD's Excellent Media Award for 2010, the Daytime Emmy Award as Outstanding Talk Show Host for The View in 2009, and the Real Beauty Award from AWRT and Dove in 2007. Joy's second children's book, Sheets Kazapupu, which I'll let her say, I'm totally destroying the pronunciation. Max Goes to the Dogs is the follow-up to her New York Times bestseller of the same name. Joy is also the author of the New York Times bestseller Joystick, or What is the Existential... And I'm going to put my glasses on. I was trying so hard to do this without my glasses. Existential vacuum, and does it come with attachments? Joy Behar. Since her year as Miss America 1990, Dr. Debbie Turner Bell has completed her doctorate of veterinary medicine degree at the University of Missouri in Columbia. She has served as a motivational speaker to more than 500,000 students at hundreds of schools, youth organizations, and college campuses, and has served on several local, state, and national boards. Debbie also enjoys her role in broadcast journalism as a staff correspondent for CBS News, where she has been dubbed the early show's resident veterinarian, sharing a wealth of advice about quality pet care. Debbie is also called upon to cover breaking and developing news from time to time for the early show and the CBS Evening News with Katie Curry. She also hosts the television magazine program 48 Hours on We, and in 2002, Debbie garnered an interview with President and Mrs. George W. Bush at the White House for a Pet Planet segment about the first family's pets. Although she is not currently in clinical practice in veterinary medicine, she has promoted responsible pet ownership and proper veterinary care for pets through PSAs, news features, and workshops. Debbie has carried her message of pet care and motivation as far away as Rome and Johannesburg. Debbie Turner Bell. Our next judge is Marc, the creator and executive producer of ABC's multiple award-winning program, Desperate Housewives. Marc began as a personal assistant to Dixie Carter on the set of Designing Women, and early success as a writer soon followed. His writer-producer credits included the beloved television classic, The Golden Girls, and the sequel to that series, The Golden Palace. He also served as a writer and executive producer on television comedies like Some of My Best Friends, The Crew, and The 5 Mrs. Buchanans. Marc has a development deal with ABC Studios, and he produces under the banner Cherry Productions. Marc Cherry. Tony Dovolani moved to the United States from Kosovo when he was 15 and began attending Fred Astaire Dance Academy, where he found his passion for dance. Since that time, Tony has been a strong and successful competitor in the ballroom dancing world. He joined the hit ABC series Dancing with the Stars in its 2nd season and quickly became a fan favorite. My wife and daughter can attest to that. Tony's film credits include the role of Slick Willie in the hit film Shall We Dance, where he was also a dance instructor on that film. His most recent achievements include a 2006 Emmy nomination for Outstanding Choreography for Dancing with the Stars, PBS's 2006 America's Ballroom Challenge Rhythm Champion, Emerald Ball Open's 2006 Professional American Rhythm Champion, and 2006 United States Open Rhythm and World Rhythm Champions with Elena. Mr. Tony Dovolani. Marilu Henner has starred in more than 30 films, 6 Broadway shows, 2 classic sitcoms, Taxi, and Evening Shade. She's a 5-time Golden Globe nominee, as well as a New York Times best-selling author of 8 books on health, fitness, and lifestyle improvement. She has hosted and executive produced 3 talk shows and has hosted and guest starred on many TV shows in addition to being Talk Show Guest of the Year. In the winter of 2010, Marilu was the subject of a two-part special on 60 Minutes and will be seen in the Hallmark movie Mulligan, as well as the feature film Vamp, scheduled for release next summer. In addition, she has spoken before Congress in Washington on several occasions as an expert on dietary supplements, women's cardiovascular disease, deadbeat parents, the Child Nutrition Reauthorization Act of 2010, and she was one of only 2 private citizens selected to contribute to the shaping of our government's food pyramid. Please welcome Marilu. Taryn Rose is an orthopedic surgeon turned shoe designer who combined fashion and function and changed the footwear industry forever and launched a multi-million-dollar shoe brand. Taryn is currently introducing her new brand, High Heel Power, for HSN, and is teamed with Neiman Marcus to introduce Haute Couture, a footwear collection for women who love fashion and worship their feet. Rose has been featured on numerous television programs and in all of the top publications in the country. She has been recognized for numerous honors and has served on a variety of panels, most recently a panelist at the 2009 Pink Magazine Fall Empowerment Series, chosen by Martha Stewart as a panelist for the 2007 Women's Entrepreneurial Conference, the 2006 Compass Award by the Women's Leadership Exchange Group, and first ranked in Women's President's Organization and Fast Company's 2005 25 Women Entrepreneurs Changing the Game. Close to her heart, Taryn regularly participates in projects to support breast cancer research, Children's Hospital Los Angeles, AIDS Project Los Angeles, Clothes Off Our Back, United Cerebral Palsy and Research Foundation, the Lynn Cohen Foundation, and Step Up Women's Network. Please welcome Taryn Rose. Marc Wills is a multi-platinum selling country music star with 8 top 10 hits, including 19-something, Wish You Were Here, and Don't Laugh at Me, which were all nominated by the Country Music Association for Single Song and Video of the Year. Wills won the Academy of Country Music's top award for New Male Vocalist in 1998. In 2002, his single 19-something spent 6 weeks at #1, was Billboard's top country hit of the year, and was the second most played song of the 2010 decade. He is the host of the hit television series 3 Gun Nation on the Versus Network. He is a spokesperson for the Children's Miracle Network, which is our corporate national co-sponsor, and has made multiple Christmas trips to Iraq to perform for our military. He lives in Atlanta with his wife Kelly and their 2 daughters. I'd also like to introduce a very special member of the Miss America Board of Directors who helped me and Art McMaster select these wonderful judges, and that's Miss America 1964, Donna Exum Whitworth, right down here. Now, as most of you know, we do have a couple of rules. We are only going to focus on pageant-related questions. We're not going to talk about anything else about their careers or about social issues. We're going to talk about the Miss America pageant. So with no further ado, we'll take your questions, and if one needs to be repeated for our judges, I will repeat it. But remember what the rules are, and feel free to ask anything you're feeling about the pageant. I must say, as I said earlier, this is probably one of the most diversely intellectual panels we've ever had, and we are so grateful to each of you for being here. Okay, I'm expecting Robin to go first.
I'll go first.
Okay.
I have a question for Marc. Do you have any interest in this American pageant before you were asked to judge?
Oh, all right, stop laughing. One of my best friends in high school, Linda Blaze, was Miss Your Belinda, and I went to the pageant, and I kind of accompanied her as she went to the Miss California pageant. I was, followed her progress, and I became kind of fascinated with it. So, I watched it every year and kind of had videotapes, and I go back and rewatch them, and I was just fascinated by the whole thing. It was like a competition that I could understand as a guy who got his ass kicked in sports regularly. I went, now this is something that if I was a woman, I would have understood this. And I have so many friends who ultimately went into it because I was in musical theater, so I knew a lot of the dancer girls would become pageant contestants. So I would watch it every year and, have, as they've discovered, have a lot of knowledge about it. And so I met Sam at a dinner party, and he said, and I knew him as an agent first, and then I said, what are you doing now? He said, I'm running the Miss America pageant. I said, I'd love to judge that. He went, done. I went, oh, okay. And so here I am. So and the thing that's been terrific is I have learned stuff that I had no idea. For a guy who actually likes pageant girls, likes the whole idea of it, I gotta say, these gals are so smart and so self-possessed at such a young age. I have been continuously impressed with how they handle themselves. And I think anyone who is not a pageant believer, by the time you've dealt with these 53 women and met them and spent time with them, boy, you walk away thinking this is a terrific program.
But can I add that Marc is being very modest? He's a pageant savant. He knows everything. He knows not only who won, but what their talent was for that year and what the runner-up had for the talent.
What state they were connected
Yeah.
to, everything.
And this is why I'm single. So there you go. It all comes from
Next question. Yes. Back here in the back row. Well get to everyone, don't worry.
Hi, I'm Tracy from Face TV, and I have a question for Ms. Taryn. How does it feel to be the first Vietnamese American woman to be on the panel of judges?
Well, as I told the rest of the judges, this is quite an emotional and honored event for me because I still remember the autumn of 1975 when I saw the first Miss America pageant on TV in Arkansas, Fort Smith, Arkansas. And as an immigrant, that to me was the American dream for a little immigrant girl. And for me to be sitting here choosing the next icon, as you can see, I'm starting to get emotional because it is a very tender spot in my heart.
Thank you. Next question. I can see a hand.
Just ask Taryn to follow up with that.
Yes.
You actually came from as a refugee, right?
Yes. We escaped 3 days before the end of the war. We were very fortunate to know the ambassador to the U.S. and he had us airlifted out. But we ended up on Wake Island where we signed up to go to California to Camp Pendleton. However, when the airplane opened up and we were so happy to finally be in the U.S., we were actually in Fort Smith, Arkansas.
What date was that the year that you watched it?
It was 1975.
Next question.
All right, let's go for Joy.
Let me take some of that.
Pass the mic.
Yes, Ron.
So Joy,
Yes.
welcome back to Behar.
Thank you.
Last year, Rush Limbaugh, one end of the political spectrum. This year, Joy Behar, presumably the total opposite end of the spectrum. What do you think that you may have found in common judging these young ladies in the Miss America pageant?
Well, it's not a political pageant, so I don't see what the relevancy is really of him and me being opposite poles. Tell you the truth, it's not political.
No, but they have platforms.
They have platforms, but I'm not judging their platform at all. I mean, if they say that they're pro-choice or anti-choice, whatever, it really doesn't have anything to do with how I score it. And I don't think he had that. I think he probably did the same thing.
So let me rephrase it.
Not giving him the answer he wants. I played this game before with you, Robin.
All good and healthy.
Yeah.
So he presumably came in with a set opinion and mindset
Yeah.
about Miss America's pageant. You may have at the same time. What did you think before you came in, and what do you think now, having been immersed in it?
Well, when I was a child, I used to like to watch it. I loved Marilu Van Burst. She was my favorite. I remember her because she was just beautiful and did everything right. But then as I grew up, I lost interest in the pageant, to tell you the truth. But then when they asked me to do this, I said, you know, I want to see what this is about because I always had a thing about the bathing suit competition and how it was, you know, objectified the girls and everything else. And I've expressed that to the girls in our conversations. But now I feel like this is an incredible pageant because these girls really have to be good at so many things. I personally could never compete in this pageant. First of all, I have cellulite. And, I mean, I'm too old also, but besides that.
Not by much.
No, but I mean, I could never do my own hair. I could not speak spontaneously when I was 20 to all different kinds of people, to Marc Cherry, to this young lady, Debbie, who's wonderful. She's a previous Miss America. She knows exactly what she's doing. I would not have been able to do it. I'm impressed with the fact that they can sing and dance, play the piano. One girl clogged last night, which was impressive. And also look good in a two-piece bathing suit and answer questions about Sarah Palin or whatever. It's just incredible to me that they are able to do all of that. So I have a renewed interest and a renewed respect in the entire pageant.
Thank you, Joy. Next question.
I have a question for Marilu. You had told us recently releasing your memory and how powerful it is. How does that faculty help sharpen your view during a judging process?
Well, it's been such a part of me for my whole life. It's just, you know, my way of organizing anything that I do, and I tend to like really study each contestant and get a you know, sort of an image of her and a snapshot, and so then later on I'm able to sort of recall it, and I know kind of, you know, who they are and what they've done, and I'm able to connect a lot of dots, but it's just the way my mind works anyway. So it helps me the way it helped me in school or any other, you know, time in my life. But they are very impressive, and this is, even if I didn't have a great memory, this whole experience would be very memorable. And years from now, I'll be able to, when I run into any of these guys on the panel with me, I'll be able to say, hey, remember what happened on Wednesday? And remember what Tuesday, and stuff like that.
Thanks, Marilu. Next question. Don't be shy.
Can I ask Tony a ridiculous question?
First of all, can I just tell you I love you?
I watched you two when I first came to the States.
Looking at it from the Dancing with the Stars viewpoint, we have some real talent in here as professional dancers in the future, or possible contestants on the show.
Possible contestants, definitely, you know, because I think what was impressive about Miss America, the pageant, is that these guys become immediate celebrities. And the one thing that I loved about it is the fact that they're not just beautiful women, they're actually very smart. So in Dancing with the Stars, actually, even though most people don't realize that, it does take smarts in order to be smart enough to know what you're getting yourself into. So I think these girls will definitely approach it with the right attitude, and they would be a great example of the organization in our show.
And the level of dance skills with these ladies?
The level of dance was quite good. I mean, not Dancing with the Stars caliber, but you know, as contestants they could be good, but as professionals, not.
So far.
So far, I haven't seen the rest of them, so I would not be able to really make a judgment call.
Tony, how old were you when you came to Kosovo?
I was 15. I actually I came a very similar story, except that I actually did have a machine gun in my hand when I was fighting for civil rights over there. So we were chased out of the country, so I actually am a very proud immigrant, as my companions here are. The reason why I say proud, because I was able to thank America back. When I won, he mentioned, Sam gracefully mentioned that I won the World Championship, was the first moment that I felt like a true American, because I did it for America, and the national anthem was because of me. And so I feel American. That's why this, and it's funny because I asked my wife when I got the invitation, I had to pass permission, okay? I said, honey, what do you think of, you know, I've been invited to judge Miss America, and the first thing she said, she goes, well, you love doing the American things. Do it. Why not? This would make you a complete American now. I was like, okay, great.
What were the circumstances with the machine gun? I'm sorry, I missed.
We were in a civil war in Yugoslavia, which most people did not know about. I was actually 12 at the time when I started being involved in that particular activity. We were simply looking for freedom, and they basically wanted to take our language away, and we didn't want to give that up. That's the short version, sorry.
Thanks, Noel. We have a question in the back. Yes, ma'am.
Marc Wills, what do your daughters think about Miss America program when you're doing that judge?
What do my daughters think about it? They love it. I have a 12-year-old daughter and I have an 8-year-old daughter. You know, I honestly believe that they're as excited about it as I was. I'm still trying to figure out why y'all have a hillbilly here. You know, But I've had a great time with this, and I think my daughters, they're actually coming in for the pageant. They've watched it, many times, and so it's kind of going to be neat for me to be, up there, kind of helping choose who the next Miss America is, and having my daughters sitting right there behind me, experiencing it. This has been the most remarkable thing I've ever done in my, one of the most remarkable things I've ever done in my career. To be able to, like Tony and, like everybody's pretty much vocalized, how you come in with one preconceived notion of what this is, and then you get here and you see the grace and just how wonderful everybody involved in the pageant is. So I think my girls, if my girls ever decided to do this, there wouldn't be one single bit of hesitation for me to pat them on the back and say, whatever I can do to support you in this, I will.
You'd bedazzle their dress?
I would. I would bedazzle their dress, whatever it takes,
Can I add something to that too? My teenage sons are very excited about the pageant as well. And they will also be here on Saturday, so they're going to be right there. In fact, 4 years ago, I was able to be a little bit part of the Miss America thing. Sam had invited me to do a little health presentation to the girls and give them one of my books and sign. Well, my husband couldn't be there, but my 11-year-old son showed up the next day, and he talked to all of the girls. And the next day, in the LA Times, there was no mention of my being at an event or whatever. It just said, what does Miss America look for in a guy? Just ask 11-year-old Joey Mac Daddy Lieberman. And then you saw 2 contestants kissing him on the cheek. And he was invited to the pageant, so we went. And the first person that Miss America kissed when she walked off stage was my son, Joey.
Not to piggyback on this particular subject, but I have a 5-year-old daughter and a 5 and a 2-year-old daughter, and somebody asked me once, what would you say to your daughter? And I said, my daughter wants to be a princess so bad, I couldn't pick a better role model for her to look up to than Miss Marilu.
I'm not a princess.
Yes, sir.
Joy?
Yeah.
You said earlier that you felt at one time that the swimsuit competition do you still feel that way, or is there a feeling on that you're getting involved now that you're a judge and trying to see a good time with the show? Where do you stand on that now?
Well, it's not my favorite part of the talent competition. I'm more interested in seeing the talent. I'm more interested to hear what they have to say. And I think they looked incredible in those long gowns last night. That was just beautiful to look at. I mean, they all looked good in those bathing suits. It wasn't like I could even figure out who looked better. They all looked the same. And the way they explain it is that they're toned and they're healthy. And but I just don't think it's necessary. But maybe people like it, so it's fine with me. I'm not going to badmouth that part of the competition. But to me, it's not a necessary part.
Right. Is it the most difficult for you to judge for that reason?
Yeah, I have a little trouble with that one. But again, they all looked good. It was very hard to judge on that basis. They all looked fine. They were toned, beautiful girls. And they all had the same bathing suits on. It was hard for me.
Debbie, you were in the pageant, and how did you feel about it when you had to go down there in a swimsuit?
Much like Joy, the swimsuit competition was my least favorite part of the competition because, quite frankly, I had no aspirations to, show my butt on national television. And I wanted to be a veterinarian, so nothing in my life prepared me to do that. But I will say this: the beginning of being conscious about my health and my body image started with competing in the Miss America system. The first time I paid attention to whether or not I should put a Dorito in my mouth started with, oh my God, I've got to be on stage in a swimsuit. So maybe I should have a piece of celery instead. And so I credit the pageant for that. And what I love now is that even the swimsuit competition has evolved over the years. In my day, and even before, the value was just to be thin. And quite frankly, the contestants did whatever they had to do to just be thin. I went on a hunger strike. I just stopped eating 2 weeks before the pageant so I could get down and be as thin as the other contestants. Now the emphasis is on health and fitness. It is what the competition is called, and these women have muscle tone, they have good skin, shiny hair, bright eyes. They're not just thin.
Show us your biceps.
They've got guns, they've got the situation going on, and that's fantastic. Health is an important part of our lives. And the swimsuit competition can serve to reinforce that for the young ladies.
And I think also there's something about the confidence that they have when they're walking forward. They may not have the greatest body in the lineup, but some girls just exuded such a self-confidence and such a, if you can't hide it, decorate it sort of attitude that having that, you tend to look at them and say, hey, this is a girl who's really working it. She's got this big smile on her face. She's got this self-presence, and so you could score high for that as well. So it wasn't just about, who's cut the most or who's got the best proportions.
And anybody that's seen Dancing with the Stars realizes that they all wear bathing suits anyway. So if they're going to be on Dancing with the Stars, they better be comfortable in it, I guess.
Next question, Robin.
Could we ask, going down left to right, left, each one of them, perhaps what they came here expecting and what they're going away with that's different to what they expected? Maybe what is the best memory that they're going to take away from this experience?
Sure.
Anything that...
Let's start with Marc and we'll work our way down. Did everyone hear the question? Yes. Okay.
Coming into this, I had performed at another pageant and really sort of expected it to be like that. And this is nothing like that. This has been all about getting to know who this person is competing, finding out what their talent is, and just seeing how well they carry themselves and how they represent themselves through the week. And I will say that for all of us here, I was amazingly surprised at just how wonderful this has been. I mean, I think my greatest memory so far is just going to be how surprised I was once I got here and really kind of got into the middle of it to see, exactly what it was. It's been a truly amazing experience, and I would, gladly do it again.
For me, I'm a feminist in stilettos, so I got asked a lot of questions about whether this was the right thing for a modern woman. And I have to say that I thought, well, is this too much of a throwback? But having been here, this is truly modern. The women are full of substance. They're proud of the way they look and also the way they think and the way they display their talent. And truly, that's what full womanhood is, to accept and embrace your femininity while still showing your capabilities. So I'm very proud to be part of this process. And I'd also like to comment that I was not fully aware of the amount of scholarships that is awarded through this organization, and that it's a nonprofit. As a woman who benefited from the world's best educational system, I would never hesitate to support this organization that makes it possible for more and more women to access that education, especially in the current economic times when education is so expensive. So I would encourage you to all write about that and encourage people to donate. You don't have to be a big corporate sponsor. You can be individuals who come in and donate what you can. So it's very important for young women in America, and that's our future.
Marilu?
Yes. Well, I had been, as I said, exposed to it about 4 years ago, so I already knew the girls were somewhat poised and beautiful. But I had no idea how important the interview portion of it was. Because until you sit in that room and you listen to these young girls between 17 and 24 talk about their backgrounds, talk about their missions, talk about what they've been through, and every one of them practically had a story that just took your breath away. A couple of times I teared up because you think, wow, this girl has really been through so much, and look at this shining example of what a person can do with her life. So I was very impressed with the interview portion, which is how we started, so we really sort of got a sense of what each girl was like. And I'm just so amazed at how young they are and how poised they are and how they use their voices, they use their bodies. We were a tough group. We sort of all went into the interview process with the mission of, you're going to face a hard, tough world out there, honey. Let's see how you're going to handle some of those questions. And one by one, I was each girl would walk into the room and she'd hold her own. You know, there were some that you think, okay, well, this girl is just saying what she's saying no matter what anybody's asking her. But 99% of the time, I was blown away by their being able to handle the tough questions. And I'm very impressed with the way the whole thing is set up and how the scoring system is and how there is such a great focus on the interview, because that is how she's really going to represent Miss America the most. And in terms of my memories, all of them. So.
I want to start by saying that, you know, I expected them to be in a great organization, but I did not expect this. The integrity that they carry, the way they've treated us, the way they treat the girls, it's been an amazing experience. The judges have been amazing. I've had the joy of spending a lot of time with every one of them, and we are from such different backgrounds, but we all get along, which I don't know what that says about us. But as far as the pageant, my opinion before it and after it really didn't alter that much, because to me, I thought this was an American institution, and I know that we stand for beauty, but you know, I always knew that Miss America had the smarts too, because even when I was in Kosovo, we watched what Miss America did, because she always took the path of Mother Teresa. So for me, it was pretty much the same thing as doing good in the world.
Thank you, Tony. Marc?
We ask a lot of questions about politics, society, pop culture. You know, one of the things that we are instructed to do in our orientation is hit the girls from as many different angles so that we can test them to see if they can respond to all sorts of questions. And we ask a whole bunch of girls questions about Jersey Shore, because it's a thing going on. And as we would ask people about, what do you think of Snooki? And some of the girls would respond. Some watched the show, some didn't. But it really got me to thinking about the kinds of women that the media cover. Paris Hilton, Snooki, Lindsay Lohan. And I am so touched by these women who come in, like Marilu said. Some of them have heart-wrenching stories of adversity that they have triumphed over. And yeah, a couple of them may put that story out to get points, but a couple of them revealed things that were excruciating to listen to. And you looked at this young woman who was so confident, and then when you saw where she had come from, you thought, well, this is triumph. And I think about the fact that what this organization does is it puts women of substance in front of the public and says, pay attention to her. And I think anyone who focuses on just the beauty aspect of it misses the point entirely. I think it's perfectly acceptable for an organization wanting to find a symbol of young American womanhood to want someone who's personally attractive. That actually makes sense in our society. But if the media would pay more attention to this role model, and I think one of the things that Sam and this organization is trying to do now on the 90th anniversary is to put Miss America out in the front and say, pay attention, there is another kind of young women that we can look to for inspiration and we can fall in love with. And she is not some drug-addled actress who, you know, has squandered her opportunities. She's not some idiot in front of a reality TV camera. You know, and she's not some rich heiress who only thinks about shopping. She's a woman who's triumphed, who is educated, who is confident, who is ambitious, and who wants to help, who is chosen some kind of platform, some kind of issue in which she can make a difference. I can't express deeply enough how important I think this role model is needed in today's society. And being a part of it is going to be just one of the proudest moments of my life.
Well, obviously I knew what I was getting into, having been in this program, and I was in it for many years. It took 7 years, 11 tries in 2 different states for me to win a state title and get to the Miss America pageant, so I was very familiar with the program. So nothing about the contestants' excellence and poise and maturity surprised me. My surprise came in, I came here expecting to have to defend this program to the panel of judges, to the other 6 individuals who have not had the luxury of the experience and the exposure that I had. And I expected all week long to sort of say, now take this seriously, take us seriously, we mean business. And I can't tell you how fulfilling it is for me as a previous participant in this program, not just as Miss America, but just as a woman who's benefited from the program, to hear such eloquent and such beautiful sentiments from people who didn't have the previous experience. And you know, I came in expecting to box a little bit with Joy. I love Joy, but I thought that she was going to come in and give the program a hard time.
And did I?
No, you gave the program a fair chance. And it just does my heart proud, and it affirms what this program is about. That if people will take the time to see these women for who they absolutely beautifully, gorgeously, intelligently are, then they're impressed. And so I want to cry just hearing these novices, these civilians, if you will, speak so highly of the program. It makes me even more proud to have been, and I guess I still am, a Miss America.
You've always been.
I'll always be.
Well, I thought that these girls came from privilege before. I did. I figured they were just, you know, girls who got through college easily because they were pretty, you know, blonde girls with blue eyes, the usual typical American girl. Because I wasn't really paying attention, I think. And I realized that they don't come from privilege. Many of these girls need the money. They need the scholarship money, and they're highly motivated because of that. And I thought that maybe they wanted to just be Miss America, to parade around the crown maybe, and, you know, do the little thing. And then I find out about the rigorous things that they have to go through for the next 365 days. So they have to have some grit. And it was also interesting to see that they want to use the crown to promote their platform. So if they're interested in, I don't know, cancer care or autism or whatever their platform was, they saw the crown as a means to promote that particular platform, which I thought was also surprising. I did not expect that. I also would like to say that my best memory, and I'm surprised that Marilu hasn't given us hers, is of Marc Cherry doing cartwheels between interviews in the interview room. And maybe if you guys are really nice, he'll do another one.
Thank you, Joy.
And also one more thing. Somebody said that we were tough. I would say on a scale of 1 to Simon Cowell, we were a 5.
I'd just like to emphasize something that Joy touched on. I really appreciate that you get it. I really do. She mentioned the scholarship. There's no other organization that does what we do in terms of providing educational opportunities for young women. And this is not a winner-take-all pageant like our competitors. Every single young woman who enters this program comes out of it with scholarship money and assistance to get an education. And as Joy said so eloquently, so many of these young women do not have the means to go to college, but for the scholarships that they win. Education is everything about our future. Education is everything that the Miss America pageant is about. And the educational opportunities provided by these scholarships don't just go to Miss America, but they go to the first and second and third alternates in the top 10, top 12, and top 15. And when these judges are casting their points, they're not just casting points for a Miss America. They're casting points to educate others who are competing. So keep that in mind. And when we look at a judges panel, I don't think there could be a more perfect group than this one. And I really thank you so much for being here, for understanding it, for getting it, and for being our friends. Any other questions?
We have to follow up with
We need to see those cartwheels again.
the slashing indictment of the media. You're in the media, and you're making television programs, and your network is carrying television programs that you have just totally slammed. I couldn't agree with you more, by the way. How do you rectify that problem within an industry that always goes to the bottom of the barrel to get ratings?
Well, one, I don't think our industry always goes to the bottom of the barrel. I think that there's a wide variety of things on networks, some inspirational. Yeah, they do some stuff that's, you know, and I'm speaking of all networks now, that you will get some sensational things. And someone once made a point, if there was a healthier balance, if it was a healthier diet, the occasional Jersey Shore perhaps would be more palatable. So much attention is given to shows. One of the reasons I don't watch reality TV, people are always asking me questions about the Real Life Housewives show because of the word housewives. And I never chose to watch it. I think I saw one episode and I just suddenly went, well, that's not for me because I don't get anything in it. I don't get any intellectual or emotional nutrition from that particular show. I've certainly made choices about that for myself. And all I can ever do as a writer in terms of how do I combat it, one of the decisions I made, I was always surprised that Desperate Housewives was controversial because I thought that we had something to say about the lives of women, and I happened to cast a group of very attractive women, which, by the way, was kind of an accident. I never thought my cast would be that attractive. But we had something to say, and the show, I think, was a hit because people saw it as not just a silly soap opera. We were actually talking about the lives of housewives and experiences that had happened to my mother and other women I knew. And so, I felt that when the show premiered, we had some substance with it. It was different. And then people criticized us for doing things that soap operas had always done. So that's the interesting thing, is sometimes you can have really good intentions and you still get the criticism. That being said, one of the things I'm trying to do in the next show that I create is I really wanted to do something more uplifting and humanistic. I'm currently writing a pilot for ABC where I try to do that, and I think what it comes down to, Robin, is every artist has to take the responsibility for themselves of what they're leaving behind. Can you defend this? If there are going to be some people who do Saw 4, and that's one of the things that I just refuse to watch those things because I go, God, I don't want that on my obituary. Because I go, what have you given to society? And I think we can, as artists, we have to say to each other, okay, I know it'll make money. Do you want to have that, be a part of your legacy? And ultimately, it's a tricky thing because it's the public who decides. It's really the public who clicks in. So it doesn't. It kind of almost doesn't matter. All you can ever do as an individual is try to put out something that you're proud of and hopefully has some worth. But in terms of combating certain things, you can just you have to make you have to just say no. And that's all I ever feel I can do as an individual and as an artist, because I don't want my government telling me.
I'm not saying that.
Let's try to stay with the Miss America pageant.
But I think this is important because it reflects on. So let me put this in the question. 8 million plus people watched the debut episode of season 3 of Jersey Shore this week. Let's pray that more than 8 million people watch Miss America on ABC on Saturday night. Not a great time for television, really. But what are those two things say about the state of America, and why is it important to promote this rather than the rubbish that we are being asked?
Well, first of all, and I think I can hook this into what we're all doing here. What's happened is we're undergoing a sea change right now in terms of television in our culture. We are becoming balkanized. For decades, television was a unifier of American society. There were 3 networks, and tens and tens of millions of people would watch the same shows, so there could be a collective, experience. After the final episode of Roots or MASH or something like that, we all kind of watched it. And now we're getting to a point where, boy, 8 million viewers becomes one of the most talked about shows in TV. And maybe the answer is, maybe Jersey Shore means a lot less than any of us think it does, because it's only 8 million. And entertainment publications are trying to write about something to get people to buy the magazine, and so they're going where they think the heat is, but the truth is 8 million people watching it means that 292 million people in America didn't watch it. So maybe it's not that important. And for Miss America, the reason why we have to promote this is a lot of people won't watch the show, a lot of people won't hear about it, but a lot of people are going to see the picture of that young girl in their papers the next morning. And it is incumbent upon us as a society to keep putting out there positive images of young, confident women so that our little daughters at some point may switch the channel and leave Snooki and come upon some young girl who is a role model that she can follow and can aspire to and can achieve things with. It may be hard, it may be difficult, we may be fighting an uphill battle, but gosh darn it, we have to try.
And let's see if Jersey Shore is around in 90 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Follow that, because this sentiment, people going toward reality TV helps save the pageant.
Well, I have been very candid about that, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I didn't like being involved in it, but I knew we had to do something to get some attention, because when ABC dropped the show in 2004, they dropped us making between 8 and 9 million viewers aware of Miss America, and they thought that that was too low an audience, and it went to CNT and dropped to 2 million viewers, and I was brought in, and I knew I had to do something, and the only way that we could get enough money to produce the show and keep the organization alive, frankly, in 2005, was to go to TLC and agree that as part of the deal we would do that 6-episode reality show. And my own daughter, who has watched this since she was old enough to know what a Miss America was, said, "Daddy, these girls did not sign up to have to jump in a swimming pool if they miss a question, or do a relay race through a mud pit, and all this kind of thing." And I was cringing too, But you know what happened? Our demo went up. Our median aged viewer went down. Our median aged viewer in 2006 was 58 years of age. And after the reality show, we had dropped to 37, which meant that young people were watching us again. And the next year we did 3 million people. And last year we had 4.5 million people. And we got ABC's attention. We're coming back. And it's taking baby steps to do it. But we have a plan. We have a plan. And whatever we have to do that can keep us relevant and hold on to our tradition, we're going to do. And the plan is working. And if we get more than 4.5 million viewers, then that's going to be a huge success. Do I hope for more? Absolutely. Would I love to think that Miss America would become one of the top 3 watched programs with the Super Bowl and the Academy Awards like it was in the 60s and the 70s and the early 80s? Absolutely. We're going to have to take baby steps, and we're going to find our way back because it's worth it.
And change comes from the center anyway. Sometimes you have to get in there by doing something that's a little more current in order to get people's attention. And if that's what it takes, then that's what it takes, as long as you hold on to your integrity. What's bad about that?
But the best thing for the Miss America program is these 7 people. Because these 7 people are going to leave here with a new understanding. And they're going to share it with their friends. And they're going to share it with people who are also as important as they are. And each one can reach one, and we will continue in this upwardly mobile climb, and we're going to bring Miss America back where she belongs. Thank you so much for being here today.